something reportedly broke inside the Indiana Fever training facility last week. And this time it wasn't about analytics, rotations, or even victories. It was about control. According to several insiders familiar with the situation, Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, and Caitlin Clark, the team's once-in-a-generation rookie, allegedly engaged in a heated verbal confrontation during practice. It wasn't violent. It wasn't physical, but it was loud. One sentence echoed across the gym. "I'm still the coach here." And from that moment on, the atmosphere in the locker room hasn't recovered. No cameras filmed it. No mic'd-up segments captured it. But whispers moved quickly, because when a coach has to remind a superstar who holds authority, it's obvious something inside the team dynamic has shifted, maybe permanently. When the Fever drafted Caitlin Clark with the #1 overall pick, it looked like a flawless match on paper. Clark, the explosive, record-setting scorer with unlimited range, teaming up with Stephanie White, a respected coach praised for developing young stars and maintaining order in emotional locker rooms.
I'm just so proud of with this group is it doesn't matter who's on the floor, it doesn't matter who's on our roster. They give each other the freedom to be themselves. They empower one another to be themselves and to be the best version of themselves.
White complimented Clark's competitiveness early, calling her a generational talent with natural leadership instincts. Clark responded with equal respect, crediting White for trusting her direction in running the offense. Everything appeared aligned, the superstar and the calm guide leading her. But success shifts perspectives, or at least it shifts how people are viewed. The moment Clark began dominating national attention, the balance started to tilt. The Fever became a media spectacle overnight. Journalists' spotlights, endorsements, cameras again. And through all of it, White was suddenly forced to share her authority with a 22-year-old rookie whose shadow now covered the entire franchise. Behind closed doors, the Fever weren't operating like a normal basketball roster anymore. Players were reportedly told to rearrange media obligations to fit Clark's sponsor activities. Practice clips were being reviewed not only by coaches, but by marketing staff, evaluating which moments could become viral content. It may seem small, but for players and coaches, those details create resentment.
Caitlin Clark has single-handedly revived the WNBA, and every player needs to thank her. The WNBA has been a losing organization since their first season in 1997. In 27 years, they have lost an average of $10 million per year, and they're projected to lose $50 million in just this year.
Suddenly, basketball feels secondary to appearances. Stephanie White was reportedly trying to maintain fairness, demanding structure, commitment, and a clear hierarchy. But Clark's rising fame made that nearly impossible. One insider described it this way: "It's not that Caitlin disrespects White. It's that the influence she carries outside the gym naturally leaks into what happens inside it." And then came the practice everyone has been whispering about. A midweek closed session. The Fever were coming off a tough loss. White reportedly wanted to slow the pace, refocus on defense and team execution. Clark, however, was locked into her tempo, calling for quicker pace, rapid reads, and more freedom in the offense. When White stopped a drill to redirect the group, Clark allegedly continued issuing adjustments, trying to lead the next possession. That's when White reportedly slammed her clipboard and yelled, "Enough. I'm still the coach."
Go to grab the ball, and then I just dribble out and I literally just start smiling so big, and I look at Steph and I told her after the game,
that better be on film.
Yeah, I'm like, "You don't understand how hard it was for me to not throw that." And she's like, "Oh, I know, trust me." Everybody was like, "We saw you about to throw that."
The gym fell silent. Teammates like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell froze. Even assistants paused. One witness described it as the most uncomfortable moment of the entire season. Clark, reportedly shocked, didn't respond. She simply looked toward her teammates and gave a small nod before walking to the sideline. Practice wrapped minutes later. It was brief but powerful, because in that moment, everyone saw the power struggle that had been simmering for months finally erupt. After that session, the Fever reportedly held a closed-door team meeting. Clark didn't say much. Sources claim she sat quietly while veterans expressed frustration about media attention and team priorities. White addressed them, saying she wanted everyone united, but the mood was strained. Later that night, Several players reportedly went out together without Clark, not as a rejection, but as relief. They were irritated. They needed distance. Meanwhile, Clark's camp, including her management and PR team, reportedly contacted Fever executives worried about how the story might surface. It didn't take long. Within 2 days, word spread among WNBA reporters and social accounts that something intense had occurred in practice. And once that phrase hit social media, the floodgates burst open.
This clip bothered me because if you watch that play where she didn't pass Kelsey the ball after Coach Stephanie White benched her for having a few turnovers in a row, that would have been a momentum shift in the game. That actually looked like it could have been a wide open pass, and it's something that Caitlin does on the regular.
Fans began debating whether Stephanie White had lost the locker room or whether Clark had simply surpassed the usual hierarchy. It's no secret that owner Steve Simon is fully committed to the Caitlin Clark era. He's invested millions into attendance, facilities, and marketing, all built around the Clark phenomenon. So when this confrontation reached him, insiders say Simon didn't brush it aside. He reportedly called an emergency front office meeting, including White, the GM, and PR leadership, to discuss internal message control. Essentially, shut this story down before it blows up. But Simon wasn't only worried about PR. He was thinking about long-term control. If the relationship between White and Clark couldn't be repaired, Simon faced a brutal choice. Protect the coach who established the structure or the superstar who is the structure. And make no mistake, this isn't just about basketball. It's about the Fever's entire brand identity. You could feel the divide expanding. Some veterans reportedly backed Stephanie White, saying she's been too patient while the front office and media constantly center everything around Clark.
And then what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on JC towards the end?
It was a flagrant foul.
Do you think it's like defending Caitlin or defending the team, or how do you view just how it all?
I view it as a flagrant foul.
I'll ask about the game, too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys came for basketball.
Others felt Clark was being unfairly criticized, arguing that her drive, passion, and pursuit of excellence are exactly what make her elite. The locker room split into two sides: those who believed in the system and those who believed in the superstar. One anonymous teammate summed it up with brutal truth. It's not about who's correct. It's about who the franchise chooses to hear. And when that quote hit the internet, fans knew instantly what it implied. Control of the Fever wasn't uncertain anymore. It was being contested. Publicly, both sides handled the situation perfectly. White smiled during interviews, praising Clark's fire. Clark smiled back, saying White helps her improve. It was textbook PR. But observant fans noticed subtle changes. Clark's post-game moments with teammates looked colder. White's tone in pressers felt flatter, less energetic, and the once common post-game hugs between coach and star disappeared. It seemed like both agreed to maintain peace, not because the issue was resolved, but because they had no other choice. Neither could risk another headline this close to playoffs. What most fans don't realize is that leaks aren't accidental. They're intentional. When a detailed insider story appears, it often means someone wants it public. Some believe players loyal to White leaked it, frustrated that Clark's influence was growing unchecked. Others think it was Clark's camp trying to get ahead of criticism, framing it as passion rather than a power conflict. Either way, it worked. The internet erupted with arguments. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who really holds control? Meanwhile, Fever management silently shifted focus back to ticket sales, community events, and viral highlights. Because in sports PR, the rule is simple. If you can't kill a story, bury it under distractions.
I've definitely been giving the benefit of the doubt this entire season. I just would hate to see some of the things that make Caitlin Caitlin, the things that fans love the most about Caitlin, be coached out of her. Those risky passes, the 10 turnovers, it might just happen.